And that's why you've got me today rather than, you know, a colleague talking about the health service or whatever, and I feel really sad about that. So I don't know what exactly led to what happened on Friday. I don't know about the particular case. There will obviously have to be investigations into that. What I will say is that I think it's very unedifying to be talking about knee-jerk legislation and throwing away keys and whatever. Legislation on the hoof, particularly after an atrocity, is rarely good legislation. And we have policies about ending austerity in the criminal justice system, but we had them before Friday.
Okay. And yet a lot of people are looking at the situation, wondering how they can be made safer, and will have a lot of sympathy with the Prime Minister's view that dangerous terrorists should be kept in prison for a long period of time, and in some cases forever. Well,
absolutely. And that is the law as it is now, actually. You know, life sentences are available even now for terrorist incidents. But, you know, no political party can offer you an entirely risk-free society. What we can do, I believe, is to invest more in the prison system, in the probation system, in policing and so on.
So let's look at that. You've been very critical of the cuts to the Ministry of Justice, which about 40% of their budget have been cut during the coalition Conservative years. I've looked at the Grey Book and I'm genuinely still slightly confused because you say there's £1.4 billion in this area, but in the list of things that the £1.4 billion is for, it's things like the car scrappage scheme, 5,000 extra firefighters, the Peace Fund and much else. Can I ask, do you know how much money it would take to reverse those cuts for the Ministry of Justice, and is that a Labour commitment?
We do want to reverse the cuts. I don't know exactly how much it is, and frankly, that there'll be whatever set out in the Grey Book. There are also things emerging in relation to prosecution, in relation to prisons, in relation to probation. We probably won't know exactly what the scale of the issue is until we're in government. However, 40% cuts is, you know, it's dramatic. That's why you've pointed out the figure. And the problem is you can keep talking about putting more people in prison and putting them in prison for longer, but if you don't have the resources to engage with them when they're in prison, prison becomes a place for radicalisation, not for rehabilitation. When people come out, even if people are in for the whole of their sentences with no licence, if people come out, they need to be supervised in the community, and that takes resources. I'm sorry, but it really does.
It's going to take money in all directions. There's been very, very heavy criticism of the probation service and the prison service as well this morning.
I don't want to criticise any service.
People who've been inside the service are criticising it.
Well, that's for them to do. I just think I personally think it's too soon for any kind of blame game. What I will say is that supervision in prison and outside prison is very resource intensive, and 40% cuts do not stand with the idea that we want to monitor people and supervise them better.
Jeremy Corbyn said that the prisons are overcrowded and understaffed, and he's also said that there needs to